So before I start reading chapter 7 to you, I'd like to know if you can remember at least 3 things that happened in chapter 6. Are you remembering that Sheila lied to Mouse about knowing how to swim? Are you remembering that when the swimming lesson started, Sheila was petrified to put her head in the water? And are you remembering that Sheila's sister Libby had a huge crush on the lifeguard? Well, let's see what happens in chapter 7. We go to day camp every weekday from 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock. Then we go to the pool from 3:30 to 5:30. We are always so busy going somewhere that I can't believe we have been in Tarrytown for 2 whole weeks. One night before Daddy got home, I arranged my shoes in the front hall with the toes pointing towards the den. Then I hid behind the drapes and waited. The drapes are curtains that cover the window, and the den is the place where the family hangs out. But between the den and the front hall was the living room. I heard Daddy come into the house and call, "Hello, I'm home." I hoped when he saw my shoes he would come and find me right away, because there weren't any lights on in the den, and the sky was getting darker every second. It was beginning to thunder. I don't like thunderstorms. Daddy has told me 1,000,000 times that the lightning isn't going to get me, and I want to believe him, but I can't. I never should have hidden so far away. I should have gone into the closet in the front hall. Then I'd have been near the kitchen where Libby and Mom were. I wondered what was taking Daddy so long, and what were those funny noises. I wished somebody would turn on the lights. I wasn't having fun at all. Maybe Daddy had forgotten about me. Maybe he wasn't even looking. I decided then and there that I would have to tell him I don't want to play this game anymore. Not in this house. I hoped he wouldn't think that I was a chicken. That's what Libby would say. She'd make her cackling noise and laugh at me. When I couldn't stand it behind the drapes for another second, I crawled out and made my way back into the living room on all fours. What does that mean, on all fours? Are you understanding that on all fours means that she was crawling on her hands and knees? Well, that's true. Finally, Mom shouted, "Sheila, come out right now, or dinner will be ruined." I was really happy when she said that. I ran into the kitchen and told Daddy that if he is going to take him that long to find me every night, we'll never get to eat. So he agreed that we will stop our game for the summer. Now Libby will never know the truth, so she won't have to call me chicken. Every night after dinner, Daddy unchains Jennifer and lets her run around the house. He says she needs the exercise. She tears around the yard yelping. What does that mean? She tears around the yard yelping. Does that mean she's tearing up paper? No, but it does mean that she's running really, really, really loudly, probably making some kind of happy sounding noises. I watch from my bedroom window. Daddy and Libby and Jennifer have a lot of fun playing games. Libby throws a ball and Jennifer catches it in her mouth, and Daddy has taught her to roll over and play dead. Both Mom and Daddy say I am silly to hide upstairs and miss all the fun. Well, maybe I am, but I just can't help it. I wonder why I had to be born like me instead of like Libby, who isn't afraid of anything. Sometimes it just isn't fair. At least I am getting used to sleeping in a room by myself. I'm not so scared at night now. I just make sure that my ear is always covered with the blanket. Why do you think she does that? I guess she's trying to block out any kind of sound that she might hear from Jennifer. I don't know why, but I can't stand having my ears sticking out when I sleep. Anyway, this house is not nearly as spooky as Mouse's. Hers is much bigger and much older. They don't even use all the rooms upstairs. I asked Mouse if it scares her to live in a place like that, and she said she never thought about it. She has always lived in the same house, and before that her mother's family lived in it, and someday she may get married and live there too. She said a long time ago Washington Irving slept in her house. Who's he? I asked. Is he related to George? I laughed at my own joke. You mean you don't know about Washington Irving? No, I never even heard of him, I told her. You mean you are going into 5th grade and you still never heard about Washington Irving? I told you no. Who is he anyway? Well, I just can't believe it, Mouse said. What's wrong with those schools in New York City? If you know so much about him, why don't you tell me who he is at least? Oh, I will, I will. I just can't believe that you don't already know, Mouse said. Go on, I told her. I'm listening. Well, he was a very famous writer. What did he write? I asked. Oh, he wrote Rip Van Winkle and the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I heard of Rip Van Winkle, I said. He slept for a very long time, but I never heard about Sleepy Hollow. You never heard about Sleepy Hollow and Ichabod Crane? That's right, I said. You people in Tarrytown have a lot of useless information. If this Ichabod Crane was so important, I'd have heard about him in New York. Well, all I can tell you is that the headless horseman rode right through here, Mouse said, spreading her arms, right through Tarrytown. So naturally, it's important to us. How many towns do you think have a headless horseman riding through them? Now, of course, boys and girls, a headless horseman doesn't exist, but the story that she's talking about does. It's a story about a very famous man who rode a horse all through Tarrytown without a head. What do you mean headless? Sheila asked. Oh, well, he was this man on a horse, and he had no head, and Ichabod Crane saw him and got very scared. But it's just a story, right? I mean, there's no such thing as a headless horseman. Well, Mouse said, it's kind of a story, but I believe it. In fact, I've heard him around here lately. Haven't you? Heard what? The headless horseman. If you listen at night, you can hear this eerie noise. And that's him haunting Tarrytown. Boys and girls, are you guessing that the word eerie means scary? If you did, you're right. I don't believe you, Sheila said. I don't care if you do or you don't. People who live in Tarrytown all year long know it's the truth. What does he do? I asked. Does he kill people? Oh, no, nothing like that. He just rides around, haunting. You know, like a ghost. There's no such thing as ghosts, I said. Maybe there is, and maybe there isn't. I had a lot of trouble sleeping after Mouse told me that. I asked my father did he know about Ichabod Crane and the headless horseman, and he said, sure, it's a very famous story. Do you believe it? I asked. It's just a story, Sheila. But there might be a headless horseman. No, no, Washington Irving invented him. But he lived around here, didn't he? Yes, but so what? Well, I said, suppose he really saw this headless horseman and thought nobody would believe him, so instead he wrote a story about him. You see? No, I don't see, Daddy said. It's all made up. I'll bring you a book of his stories and you can read them. Then you'll understand. No, I shouted. I don't want to read about any headless horseman. After that, whenever I heard noises at night, I knew it was the headless horseman haunting Tarrytown. I wished it was September and we could go back to the city where there isn't room for any kind of horseman to go haunting at night.